everybody, welcome back. I'm Cathy from the Quilt Basket and Cutie Patterns. We are going to show you today how to do the next row of our Eggsactly quilt. Today we're working on the butterflies, and if you walk over to my table with me, I will show you how to make it. After the ones that we've done, this is going to be very simple for you, but I'm going to refresh your memory on how we did it. When you are making the top half of the butterfly, you are going to lay your square on your background, and you can draw a line and sew on the seam side of it. We are going to use our ruler today, our Creative Grids folded corner clipper. And I like this so much because you can actually see how square it is. And when we get it just the way we want it, we're going to cut. Now we will take it over to our sewing machine and sew our 1/4 inch seam allowance. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. After we sew the first seam, we're going to take a square on the other side and do exactly the same thing. And this is the top of our butterfly. To do the bottom, we're going to use the similar method. We're going to take our square with a smaller background piece using our ruler. And cut. Now you would take it over to your sewing machine, sew your 1/4 inch and press. You are going to do that 2 more times on each piece, and this is your finished product. You will then sew the bottom to the top of the butterfly, make them in the order that you want, the colors, and sew them together. We are now going to continue on with our next segment of Eggsactly. This one is really easy. Everybody should be able to do this without any problem at all. From your cuties, you're going to cut strips, and from your background, you'll have an equal strip. You sew these together with a 1/4 inch seam and press toward the dark. You're going to then take your long strip and cut it into segments. When this is done, you're going to alternate them into our checkerboard. Now, a little hint is, if you do it by 2s, then you'll be putting 4 together the next round, and it saves a lot of time rather than doing each one individually. So if you can, chain them together and then add them until you get your row. You're then going to take your lattice that we have cut previously, and you're going to sew one to the top and the bottom of your checkerboard. A little secret of this is find the center of your lattice and find the center of your checkerboard and match them up. Then match up your ends. If you are off a thread one way or the other on your checkerboard, this will ensure that you are going to get the perfect width when you're done. Hope you have fun with this section. Bye.
These butterflies are adorable, and they're actually really simple and fun to quilt. What I'm using is that pale green thread, and I'm going to do all the butterflies in the same thread color and the same design. So I'm looking at this center seam line here, and at this point, I'm going to bring down my needle, bring up my bobbin thread, and make a quick knot. I am going to come into this triangle and make a swirl and come back, and I'm going to go into this, well, it's kind of a square with a point. It looks like a house from this angle, so I'm going to come into here and make an opposite. So I have a swirl going this way and a swirl going that way, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other half of the butterfly. And again, I'm going to take it in the opposite direction. do the same thing on the other half of the butterfly. I'm going to pause here while my needle's away from the beginning so I can cut my threads. And then I put my spiral in the opposite direction over here. If you like, you can do something for a little bit of the body down here. So I'm going to make a little figure 8 here, which is kind of the body. Curve, 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 curve. And I'm going to come up with 2 little more swirls up here for the antenna. Take a couple stitches. And make my knot. In this large area of checkerboard, I'm going to be stitching continuous curve again. I've stitched a pink thread to match the pink fabric. And I have it oriented up and down because that's what's going to fit in my machine. If you're doing this on a long arm machine, you may choose to orient your quilt left to right. So I'm going to stitch a curve from corner to corner, corner to corner, corner to corner, corner to corner. But I'm going to be stitching it continuously from top to bottom of the way I have it oriented, and then from top to bottom. I'm going to stitch it in 2 runs. Curve. And I'm going to stitch 1, 2, 3 curves. 1, 2, 3. Now that I've finished stitching down, I'm going to start back up at the top again. And I'm going to stitch 3 sides of this block and 1 side of the next one, all the way down. There's the continuous curve finished.